Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a review slash demo slash tutorial of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts, what I think about it, and what kind of look I come up with, then keep on watching. Okay, so as I mentioned in the intro, today I'm going to be doing a review slash demo slash like a mini tutorial of the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. This launched, I think, beginning of February online on their website, middle of February, February 14th on their website, and then it came into stores this past week. I was on my trip, so I didn't get to get it until yesterday. I picked this up in my local Sephora. It retails for $42. Let me check that. Okay, so this retails for $42 on the Sephora website, and they also carry it on Ulta. You get 14 shades and a mini double-ended brush like you always do with these palettes. It's 14 shades, 0.2 ounces slash 0.74 grams of eyeshadow. Like, I think that's each. And the packaging is the Soft Touch, which is the same as the Modern Renaissance, the Subculture, and I believe the Prism palette. I picked up the Subculture and ended up returning it because it just wasn't my vibe. I didn't like it. It didn't work for me. The Prism I just didn't even bother getting. But this, when I saw it on Trend Mood's Instagram, like when she released the photos of it, I was like, yes, give me that shit. It is very bridal, very casual. Like, you can create beautiful everyday eye looks with this. I'm here for it. So as I mentioned, you do get 14 shades. A common theme with Anastasia palettes is sometimes they duplicate colors and put them in other palettes. For reference, I have the Modern Renaissance right here. As you can tell, the first shade right there, on this right here, it's the same as in the Modern Renaissance. It is Tempera, which is just a really great brow bone, like to set the entire lid and set your concealer and everything in place before you start working with the eyeshadows. Obviously, I love it a lot, so I was really excited to see that in there. Also, another shade that they duplicated from Modern Renaissance is the Cypress Umber, which is just a matte brown shade, but I feel like, I don't know, I'm tripping. Okay, this is that shade there. So yeah. So this is Tempera, which doesn't really show up, but it's just a matte setting shade. This is Glistening. And then we have Orange Soda. Hope my lights aren't washing it out. I'm just going to switch to my forearm because it's easier for me to do. Then there's Rose Pink, which is that shimmer. Then we have Sultry and Bronze, which I said was a little bit chunkier. And you can see they're a little bit thicker, these two right here, of a glitter, and this one's more of a finely milled shimmer. Then we have the shade Mulberry, which is going to finish off the top row. The mattes I've already swatched, and they didn't swatch that great except for Noir and Rustic, but I'm still hopeful. Swatches aren't usually like a tell-all of anything. You know, it's going to apply differently on the eye. And then the shade Dusty Rose. That swatched pretty shitty. And then Fairy. And sorry, I'm kind of swatching in my arm here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Which is just a super faint version of this gold. I still have these here, but I'm going to go to the top of my arm. And these three are going to be mattes. This is Burnt Orange, Sienna, and then the shade Rustic. And the swatches aren't the best, obviously, because it's on. And I can't really show you guys, but this swatch right here from the shade Bronze, which is in the Subculture palette, when I move my arm, gold flecks just fall out all over my desk. Like, I'm literally just sitting in a fucking, like, little puddle of gold dust. So that, I don't know how that would perform on the eyes. I'm curious. But yeah. And the very last two shades in the palette are also the darkest. You have Cypress Umber, and then Noir, which Looks kind of like almost iridescent. Yeah, that's supposed to be a black matte. So I figured I'd just throw in some more like up close shots of the swatches. So here you go. So we're going to jump into the tutorial. First, we're going to take the shade Tempera, and I'm going to set all over the lid like I always typically would, using my fluffy BH Cosmetics brush. I'm just going to tap into that, tap off the excess, and put my mirror in. And just set the lid. That performs pretty well. I mean, it's pretty similar. It's pretty much the same. It's a brow bone setting shade. I like it just as much as I do in the Modern Renaissance. Not much to say for it. Obviously, I'm going to do a more warm tone look, so I'm thinking I'm going to stay with the more orange shades right here, maybe throw in some mulberry, but I'm going to try to do like a halo eye, I think. So first, I'm going to take the shade Orange Soda and just tap into that. Not really much fallout in the palettes, and I'm just going to buff that for a transition. It blends really well. I like this color. I've heard people talk about it a lot, but I've never tried it. For the next shade, I'm going to go into the shade Burnt Orange, which I've just realized is also in the Modern Renaissance palette. They're the exact same color. Just a little fun observation I just realized. And I'm going to take that on a Wet n Wild brush, tap in. There is a little bit more kickback. That doesn't bother me. I don't really care. Just in the spirit of full disclosure. And I'm going to buff over that lightly. Ooh. It's already layering pretty nice. Like I can definitely tell there was a color there before. But you know. I like it. I like it. So I think next, to kind of keep everything from getting too orange, I'm gonna throw my brush on the ground first. Like I was saying, I'm gonna take the shade Rustic, which is just more of a warm tone brown, but it is a brown, and I'm just going to tap into that. Fallout's pretty minimal, and I'm gonna buff that over everything I've done so far. This whole palette, like, it was just set up for me to love it. Like, I'm a warm tone basic ass bitch. Like, I'm a warm tone wearing asshole. That's just who I am. I'm at peace with it. Like, as soon as I seen this, I was like, need it, give me 50. There was no way in the world that I wasn't gonna love this palette. Not saying that I love it, but it's looking pretty good, you know. Okay, dipping back into the palette now, I'm going to take the shade Sienna, and I'm gonna buff that into my crease as well. Ooh, that one definitely had, I don't know if you guys can tell, a good bit of fallout. I don't know if that's just the way that it's pressed. Ooh, okay, Katie. Just dug a brush all into that. Okay, so I'm just gonna buff that in. You can't really tell. I don't know if the brown kind of just muted it too much, but you can't really tell that I like put that on there, so it's alright. Not my favorite color. I mean, it blends okay, but it's nothing special. So now I'm gonna go in and create the halo effect on my eye. You guys know I like to kind of carve out the little halo shape and then kind of work around it and put my shimmers and stuff. So I am gonna take the shade Sienna and kind of start to carve that out. I'm gonna take the shade Sienna and I'm just gonna apply that with an Anastasia brush, like the one that it comes with, the palettes come with. I'm just going to tap into that. And I'm going to go in, and if I don't talk during this, it's because I need laser precision focus. So, bear with me. So I'm just going to take and just, I like to do right here, and work up, and bring it out, and fan it inwards. As you guys can see, I'm just kind of creating a shadow. it out. Travel something like this. I'm going to dip back into the palette just 2 times. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Basically what you're going to do is just leave this little piece of skin exposed, and that's where we'll apply the shimmer to make everything look really like open, bright-eyed, give it the halo effect. And because I couldn't leave well enough alone, I took the shade Mulberry, and that's why everything's so dark, and just kind of buffed it in just to see what would happen, and now everything is extremely dark. So the shimmer I think I'm going to go in with is Glistening. I think I'm going to take that one. So on this little Anastasia brush that the palette came with, I have multiple because I have a couple different palettes, but I'm going to take the one that this specific one came with. I'm going to wet my brush with some Fix Plus, just one good squirt, and I'm going to go into the shade Glistening. I always wet my eyeshadows like this to make everything look more metallic and intense, and I'm going to put that in the little circle part right here. Ooh. Okay. Shit. The halo is a little bit wider than I anticipated, but I'm going to be honest, it's the first time I put makeup on in like a week. So I'm just going to take this brush with nothing on it and just kind of buff in to soften the sides. And I'm going to take this brush that I applied the matte shadows with and just kind of buff everything in. Okay, I think that's as good as it's going to get for the lids. I'm really impressed so far, but we're going to go ahead and do the lower lash line and the inner corners. So for the lower lash line, I'm going to take the shade Sienna, and I'm just going to take it on this little brush right here, tap off the excess, and I'm going to go under here. Okay, so for inner corner, I'm going to take the shade Fairy on this little brush here, dip it in a few times, tap off the excess, and go in. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, guys, so this is the finished look. Let me go throw on some mascara, lashes, a lip, and some highlights, and I'll be right back to give you guys my final thoughts and my review on the palette. So yeah, I think it is a super nice palette. If you're in the market for something warm-toned, shimmery, that kind of vibe, you should definitely check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this little mini tutorial slash review of the new Soft Glam palette. I think that's everything. If you're not already, make sure you're subscribed before you leave. Hit the bell button to be notified when I upload so you never miss a video. And give this video a big thumbs up for me because it helps me out so very much. And I will see you guys next week.